but Copperbelt is very important in our country's history. Look at the economy, contribution of the Copperbelt. Look at the population, economic contribution, industrial activity. It's on the Copperbelt. So we have to have a feel of the pulse of the have to be in other provinces. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Dear friends of Radio Icengelo, kindly know that we are also live on iWorld Radio, Hakainde Radio, Mafken Radio, Mpongwe, Mfonyama Radio, Roster FM, Chimwema Radio, Onkola, Drone FM, and Miracle Radio, and also Sun FM. Like I've mentioned, I'm Aki Mugala, and I'm hosting, the President of Zambia, Mr. President Hakainde Hichilema. Let's talk about, we saw you at Mingoma Mine. What does this mean for Zambia? And especially for the ordinary Zambians?
Well, I think Mingomba Mine, Akim, it is one of the projects. In answering your question in a holistic way, a Mingomba project, Mingomba Mine, is just one of the many. But it's very important. As you know, Mingomba is a greenfield mining project, if you call it that. What do I mean? I mean, we have mines that existed before we came into office. But these mines are called brownfields. But a new mine like Mingomba is called a greenfield, in the sense that it's new, green, new, as you see the trees with the green leaves, new leaves. So that's the import of Mingomba. The importance of Mingomba is that it adds on to the mines, the stock of mines, the stock of assets that we've had for many years. Remember, some assets like Kalengwa Mine has been in existence for many, many years, over 50, 60, 70 years. If you look at Lubambe Mine, Lubambe next to Mingomba. In fact, Mingomba next to Lubambe, because Lubambe owns the main license. They've been there for a long time. So, but in addition to new mines, we have had to revive the old brownfield mines. And these mines had gone into what you call idle form, dormancy. All my provincial chair will say they were in the ICU on the way to the graveyards. Which are these? KCM, Mopani, Kalengwa itself, 28 shaft. 28 shaft was out for 23 years. I'm sure you know that the pumping is now almost done, if not done. It's done, and we'll be getting the first ore within this year, before the end of the year. Great. Reviving Rwansha. Rwansha is back. Right? They call it Abena Rwansha, they call it New Rwansha. Maybe we'll come to that. But KCM is back. Mopani is back. Kalengwa is now producing copper after 47 years of being out of commission. This is what your government has done in 4.5 years. And that's what we said we would do when we were in opposition. So now, Mingomba itself is a project that we marketed to come here in 2022. You elected us into office in 2021, August 12th. We were sworn in on the 24th of August, and we got to work immediately. Remember I mentioned that, Akim, that I'll be the Chief Investment Officer for Zambia. I'll be the Chief Marketing and Sales Officer for Zambia. And true to that, Mingomba is the result of that marketing effort, investment effort. 2022, we brought in, attracted corporate matters to invest in Zambia. And the project that we identified was Mingomba to be hived, which was hived out of the Lubambe mine, an old mine, a brownfield mine. So now, yesterday, to cut the story short, we were officiating at the shaft because they've done the exploration, and we're sitting on one of the best grades in the country for copper. 7% copper in the ores, the copper ores in there. 7%. Most mines will be operating at 2%, 3%. This is a great asset. Akim, You must be proud of them. And that's where technology has been applied, artificial intelligence, and yesterday seeing young Zambians working there, scientific work, it's great. It's just great. If you were there, Aki, I'm sure you felt very good. I felt very good yesterday. That from a ground we were stepping on with our feet, now it will be producing 300,000 metric tons of copper per annum once it's fully operational. Already there are over 600 jobs that have been created there during exploration. When it gets to mining, thousands of jobs. You're asking me how I feel, how it is. That's great. To see somebody who had no job and now all of a sudden has a job opportunity. You look at the face of those young people. A lot of them are young people. Your own relatives, our own relatives, fellow citizens. You can see they're happy, they're excited with what they're doing. So in the sense of producing copper, which will lead us contribute towards our 3 million tons of copper. Jobs, business opportunities.
That was going to be my next question when it comes
great,
to the
great.
Yeah. Are we on track in achieving that, looking at the investment happening in the mining sector?
Well, when we talked about 3 million tons in 2021, 2022, most people laughed because the mines were down, as we've already discussed. But the vision, our vision was that the asset endowment is there. Is there. And we needed to work and work hard, but work in an organized way, in a methodical way, intentional way. And again, my colleagues in opposition were laughing when we said we'll work methodically once we take office, public office, as servants of the people. And I think you can now attest to that. If you see what we were able to do to bring Mingomba to yesterday and what it will produce, it can only be out of organized work, driven by clear vision and timely execution of assignments, projects. So, now this year, if it were not for the drought in 2023, I believe 2023, 2024, which wiped out our electricity generating capacities, were highly dependent on hydro, we would have moved faster. But we're slowed down because the energy, as you know, the drought brought us energy challenges. But we had to find a way out, and it's a different subject really here. And that's why reforms are important, and we're saying reforms deliver results. And so, Akim, now this year we believe we will hit 1 million tons. Never done before in this country. 1 million tons this year. It's difficult to get to 1 million. It's a psychological mark. Once you climb over that hump, it's much easier then to accelerate the production going forward. It's called economies of scale. Kick in now. They kick in. And the progress is hugely incremental at that level. So then we'll rest towards 2 million tons. That 1 million excludes Mingomba. It excludes the Konkola Deep Mining Project. You know where it is. KCM, isn't it? We're working on that. Time permitting, I'll say to you what we're doing. To get to KDM, that will lead us to 300,000 to 500,000 metric tons of copper. We already have one mine that is doing 400,000 to 500,000 metric tons. You know that mine? It's not in this province. It's next door. It is in the northwestern. First Quantum. The First Quantum total production is racing towards 500,000 tons. Let's do our numbers. When KCM gets to 500,000 tons, First Quantum is already close to 500,000 tons. How many tons is that? Two companies, 1 million tons. We get to 300,000 metric tons from Mingomba. Then we go to Mopani, which is targeting another 300,000 metric tons. Just Mingomba, Mopani, you're getting close to 600,000 metric tons. Then go to CNMC. Go to Kitumba mine in Mumbwa. Many of you never thought, citizens, that there will be a mine in Kitumba, in Mumbwa. And most people used to ridicule Mumbwa in this country. You know, this country has strange behavior, right? You ridicule certain citizens. They used to call them Mumbwa. When you say, where are you from? He says, you are from Mumbwa. Say, Mumbwa. Ukwa bats. Right? Now, Mumbwa under our government has received over $1 billion of investment in 4.5 years. But let me talk totality now. Just examples I've given you. We have new investment in the mining sector since we came into office, since we did the debt restructuring to open up opportunities for investment. Before we came in, Akim, nobody would invest in this country, as you know. Very well. Nobody. It was a basket case because of the debt burden, because of the environment was not right. If you listen to Dr. House yesterday, the leader of Copperbelt Metals, I hope you listen to his speech. Because you colleagues in the media, you must read between the lines when people are speaking, capture the true meaning, a true message. He himself made a comment yesterday. He said, Mr. President, we as Copperbelt alone, Mingomba included as a project, we will deliver, contribute towards that 3 million tons. This is an investor from outside, in America. He sees what many Zambians don't see. But this president and the government, we see that. So now, not to belabor the point, $12 billion of investment in the mining sector alone. And this $12 billion plus, you compare to the 3 million tons will allow us to consume, will require 7,000 megawatts of electricity. That is important to put context to these issues. My friend, 3 million tons, the answer is yes, is achievable. We are already demonstrating what we've done to the Minister of Mines. The President has asked them to now summarize each mine. The existing mines, we call brownfields, right? The new mines, we call them greenfields, including Mingomba, including Kitumba, right? And many others. And we're only talking about, literally now, Copperbelt Province, Northwestern, Central Province. We've not touched a number of provinces which host substantial minerals, including copper. Where I sit as the servant, your servant, I know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm seeing coming out of the high-resolution geophysical survey of the country, never done before. Now, by December, we will know exactly what sits in each of our parts of the country. Under this chair, by December, I will tell you that, Hakim, you are sitting on copper and cobalt. We will tell you that. We have made this investment, which is never made before. That would lead us to more exploration, but precision exploration for copper, for other minerals, critical minerals, strategic minerals. All minerals anyway are strategic, as we discussed at the last mining endeavor in Cape Town. So now, by that investment which government is making over $100 million, our government, we didn't go to a donor to give us that money. We are paying because of the value of what we want. It will give us data now that will allow precision exploration, where you can say, in this area, across that stream, Kafue River, there is tantalite, there is copper. Can you now drill there? Instead of drilling in this direction, we will tell you drill in that direction. That's what we've done. There is the confidence, absolute confidence, Akim. And I want the people of Copperbelt, people of Zambia, of Northwestern, Central, all the provinces, as I can tell you that there are minerals in every part of Zambia. But what we want is to mine legally, to mine safely, to mine in a formal way so that the money comes in the economy, the jobs are created. Number 4, to mine in a way that we are peaceful, we don't create conflict, fights, like in other countries. I don't have to mention the countries, you know, where minerals have brought war. So where I sit, where you sit, and through this radio program, I do believe that Zambians can now believe this government when we say this is our vision, and we'll come to that just a little bit. This is our vision in mining, in copper. This is our vision nickel. This is our vision in manganese. This is our vision in rare earth, because we'll be sitting on data. But the vision was there before the data. The data is coming because of our vision. That's why we've invested $100 million through. You've seen the yellow planes, eh? Have you seen them flying around? That's what they're doing. And we're sitting in a position the country has never sat before. But our job is to make sure that these mineral resources benefit every Zambian. Not some, but every Zambian. And that is why we're talking of legal mining, safe mining, and formal mining, and also the security, so that there's no guns and bullets that are flying over, killing each other, as Kikonge in Mfumbwe was happening. That's why Zambians must appreciate the importance of order. And we had so many foreigners coming into Kikonge in Mfumbwe, extracting gold, taking it out illegally, and Akim, no benefit for you and your children. We want to support free education, sustain it as we are making it legal now, through the revenues that come from the mine. So that even an ordinary family in Chipulukusu, in Kakoso, can benefit. This is what this government is all about. Honestly speaking, my answer to your question is embedded in there. The answer is yes, and even more. One investor yesterday saying, Mr. President, your target is even too low. Somebody who's already thinking the total investment in Mingomba will be somewhere in the region of $2.5 billion to $3 billion. Mingomba alone. Why do you think an investor will come and sink that money? By the way, who is the investor in Mingomba? It is Cobalt Metals. It is us, you and I, in that chair. Akim, you own part of Mingomba through ZCCM Investment Holding, which is a government-owned company, which means 21 million Zambians, you and I, and those beautiful ladies, own shares in Mingomba. Why would you think investors and lenders will put $2.5 billion, $3 billion if they didn't believe that they will realize their investment? The only reason investors go in somewhere is that they know that they will have a return on their investment. But for us, that's one story on it. The next story is jobs. It is business opportunities. That's why we've legislated what we call local content, right? And yesterday I talked about it. I hope you picked it as a media. I talked about it to make it work. And I want the mines to understand that the mine is only worth something if local people, the host country Zambia, local people, population, through free education, generated revenues from the mines can support free education, can support meal allowances. We'll come to that. Then for the college and university students, then the Zambians will call it their own mine. And obviously, that is added value we want. But ultimately, we want to do with our minerals as what Saudi Arabia, Qatar, UAE have done with our oil and gas. Norway included in there. They become wealthy, right? In Norway, because of the resources from oil and gas, every Norwegian pupil is entitled to free education up to university level. Every. And they go to the same schools. Children of the president, prime minister, ministers, they go to the same schools. I've been there. I've been studying that model. That's one of the reasons that we were advancing free education, because we knew that it was sustainable. So our copper is our oil and gas. And that's why we are structuring things this way. You know, this conversation is so beautiful, Akim. I can tell this story the whole day. But focus your questions.
Yeah.
I hope I've answered your question.
Yes, you have. Yeah. Let's look at, you have mentioned about mining in a proper way, also some of the benefits.
Yes.
One of the other major issues is the issue of environmental concern.
Yes.
You know, how you handle that?
Very important, Akim. I'm glad you have raised this question. Abena Kopala, Abena Zambia. This is a very important question. You've been seeing me playing with my fingers now, right? 4 elements of mining. That's what we want. I repeat, legal mining. We don't want illegal mining. Start killing each other. We don't want rivers of blood. 2, safe mining. In the safe mining, there are 2 elements. Okay. 1 is the safety of our own miners when they go in the pits. As you know, in Chingola, we've been losing our citizens. no sane parent, no parent with 5 brains, 5 senses, so to say, can actually send their son in a pit knowing that they may not return at 19 hours because they will die there. Because you know that it's unsafe there. We don't want that. I'm a father. Beyond my 3 biological children, I'm a father to all the children of Zambia. That's why the young people call me buddy. I'm their father. I must be a responsible father to make sure that our children, our men and women don't go down those pits, those rat holes, in search of money and only to die there. Then the agenda is not achieved. You want money in order to improve your life. But you get a bit of pittance, then you die in the pit. Please, let's understand each other. Number 2 element of safe mining, Hakim, is what you have asked, environmental damage. That too is critical to our mining agenda. Meaning that as we extract gold, for example, we should not use mercury to clean the gold, because mercury will pollute the water bodies. It means this river you see here, Kafue, this water I was saying to you when I came, look this side, see the wealth you have. It must remain clean, even when there's a mine upstream there. Even when there's a mine up there, we want the copper, we want the gold, but we don't want that activity to pollute this water, because this water is what we extract drinking water in Kitwe, in the water systems. In Ndola, remember, Kafubu comes into Kafue, doesn't it? Eventually. So clean water bodies. We don't want to damage the soils. You know there was a spillage in the tailing dam. That split open. We want integrity, minimum standards in the construction of the tailing facilities, infrastructure, so that there is no spillage to then spoil the soil, pollute the soil, pollute the water, because we use the water for irrigation, agriculture, we use the water for drinking, we use the water for industrial activity. We want this Kafue River, all our rivers, Chambeshi River, Lukulu River, to remain clean. If you go to Europe, my friend, you cannot dig a bore and drink the water, because the water is polluted. Here you dig a bore and you drink the water. We want to maintain that. So we will apply, and we are applying already more, if you like, requirements for the mines to meet as minimum requirements, so that as we extract our minerals, the environment is protected. For the future generations, we're a responsible leadership. And I must also say to you, the coming in of the Minerals Regulation Commission, it will now monitor the mines than ever before. I hope you know that we have legislated now to the Minerals Commission, which will now take over the oversight responsibility, checking Bakula and Daukafie across the country to check. And also we will be applying technology now. With the digital artificial intelligence, we can see who is mining and whether that mine is legal. We should be able to see, we'll be investing in that after the exploration investment. We'll be able to see who is damaging, and then we can send people to ensure that there's compliance. So I think that's my answer to your question.
Dear friends, so listening to His Excellency Mr. President Hakainde Hichilema on a special program on Radio Icengelo. Just remember that we are also live on iWave Radio, Shakaina Radio, Mafken Radio, Mpongwe, Wanyama Radio, Rusta FM, Chimwemwe, Konkora, Ron, and Miracle, also Sun FM. Mr. President, when you assume office, one of the issues you talked about is about the debt restructuring. Maybe you can just tell us the status quo and what are some of the benefits accrued from this, the restructuring of the debt?
Yeah, I think, Hakim, you do remember that in our manifesto, in our vision, one of the things we talked about is mining. That will restore the mining sector and even grow it. We are doing that. You can tick that box, right? In Sotsan, in the mining. What else did we say? We said to open up the economy for growth. Remember when we came in, the economy was declining, right? It was going down. But it was riddled by date. Congole, not just a normal Congole, Kaloba, terrible high interest rates, Euro bonds, and all of that stuff. And what we said we would do in opposition is what we've done now. For those who didn't believe us, when we said one of our critical deliverables will be to restructure the debt so that we can restore credibility in our economy, and therefore the global community would know that if you go and invest in Zambia, you'll be able to earn your return, you'll be able to be paid, and if you lend money, you'll be able to be paid, repaid. So we went ahead to do that, and because the debt mountain was standing in the way of our progress in terms of economic growth. So we've so far worked hard, Akim, very, very hard. You saw the President, the Minister of Finance, Minister and his team going into Europe, going into America, going into China. Where we are now, in a nutshell, we have now achieved a debt restructuring of well over 94%. Akim. Now, what does that mean? Let me give you the value that has come with the debt restructuring. And numbers don't lie. Because Zambians sometimes, some Zambians, I must qualify, like arguing. Even if you have been to Tawe more, but they'll be arguing. And big debates. Some will use big words, and they may be trusted, and they post on the social media. All these efforts that we made and we worked on the debt restructuring, two numbers matter. Hakim, before the debt restructuring, Zambia was going to be paying every year $2.3 billion in debt service. Mark that number. $2.3 billion of debt service. All the money that we collect in taxes, we collect from mines, small mines then, very low levels of production then, from the pay-as-you-earn, your own pay-as-you-earn, we would have been paying $2.3 billion per year to pay the lenders. After the UPND government came in and we worked very hard, I must say extremely hard, beyond what many Zambians can imagine. Remember, I used to call the debt restructuring as a mission impossible, as a python wrapped around our necks, around our chest and the legs. We couldn't move. Now, with what we've achieved, and thank you to the people of Zambia for your support, for electing us into office, because you are the ones who gave us the opportunity to serve you, to do these things I'm talking about. We are now only paying $900 million per year in debt service. Right? If you work out your numbers, how much are we saving? We're saving $1.4 billion. $1.4 billion per year. That's the money now we're able to support free education. 2.5 million children have gone back to school. That's the money we're using to pay CDF, which we increased from 1.6 million per constituency per year to 40 million kwacha per constituency per year. That's the money we are now able to pay meal allowances for students in college. That's the money we are using now to rehabilitate or complete the hostels for Copperbelt and other public universities. You know, Akim, this story is the story we should have celebrated together. Whether you are opposition or not, we should have been celebrating this achievement together. In other countries, they've been giving accolades to your president, to the Minister of Finance, to our debt restructuring team. In other countries, celebrating whether you are opposition or not. And remember, this debt was acquired by the people in opposition now. And they couldn't restructure it. They failed. We were defined as a basket country. We've now restored, in addition to the numbers I've given you, we've restored the integrity of Zambia. If you travel outside Zambia now, they see your passport, Hakim. So, you're from Zambia. Oh, I see. HH's country. Pass, go. You are respected. In office. And Zambians must be careful. On the 13th of August, we're going to elect your government. You want to elect a government that will take you to back to debt problems? You want to retain a government of the UPND that will continue making progress on the residual debt of 6%, but also on growing the economy, on more Mingombas, on more KCM revivals, more 28 shaft revivals, more free education, more hostels for students, more jobs, more importantly, more nurses employed, more teachers. 45,000 teachers were employed in 4.5 years. Nobody has ever done that before. Hakim, give me the numbers. Which government has done that? Nobody. Only us. It is, again, thank you to the people of Zambia who allowed us the opportunity to save you. I know many were told stories about us. No, HH, Taseka iyo. Nambanga Taseka. Ali upashani. How did I go to Taseka, Zada? Taseka. How did I propose my wife? I had to smile. But some people believed those stories. You know? Awe, ni Satanist HH. Awe, HH, akashishe chalo. Akaputula chalo, akapela, aba nangwe baloshi. So ninali ipusha. Ine mulanda kuti nashisha chalo chenu chalo chandi kushe na mwizi wa market eko bashite vyalo adawo nanga wai mleba ati nkashishe chalo ni nani ungashite chalo cha Zambia. You know, there was a lot of irrationality and confusion. I think, Hakim, God is good all the time because that's his nature. God allowed in his own way at his own time for Zambians to say, let's try this fellow and his team. Now Zambians have seen what we are able to do. Just the questions you've asked me, the answers I've given you. This country was gone. Now we've restored it. Negative growth, now we're positive growth. Even in the drought here, nobody died out of hunger. I know you can ask me that question. Politics is a serious business. Hakim, go back to my interviews like this, 10 years back. I used to say, you have them in your story. Why don't you compare, Hakim? Why should I compare Ifi, Evalela and the HH in opposition? In the radio station. What are they doing now? You'll be very impressed. Somebody produced a recording of my interview with Mwansa. Costa Mwansa. Have you seen it? It's going around. Listen to that interview. What I was saying then and what we're doing now. In opposition, and what I said, children must go to school. And children are going to school free of charge. I talked about growing the economy. I talked about jobs. I talked about all these things. Zambians must test the governments and leaders against what they say. When we came in, but 2021, 2022, 2023, my colleagues were in government area said, HH wabufi. Tetibalande, Yoriash, no. Tetibalande, because this is the issue about debt restructuring. What we said we'll do is what we've done. Very difficult exercise. I'll tell you, Hakim, it's one of the most complex exercises I've been involved in. I'm a transaction person myself. I'm a corporate finance person myself. Transaction is what I do. Today we're going to CEC. I put that transaction together to create CEC. I was only in my 30s. I was only 33, 34 that time. Right? This is what I've been doing. I put many projects in this country together. If you look at this, what Zambia Sugar is today, I put it together in terms of restructuring. You go to Livingston, you see the landmarks of what we did 26 years ago. How old was I 26 years ago? 27 years ago. How old was I? So, but this was a complex assignment. I want to thank our creditors for supporting us so far. We still need their support to conclude it. I want to thank Zambians once more for giving us the opportunity to serve them. At this stage, I must not forget giving credit where it's due, and that is to the Zambian people, the voters, citizens of Zambia. Without them, we would have never had the opportunity to do what we do. And that's why in 2026, 13th August, Zambians must carefully look at whether they want to return to the dark past or they want to continue on the trajectory of growth, light, jobs, Ningombas, and all of that stuff.
Your Excellency, the other thing you talked about, especially in your campaigns previously, is making the Kwacha stable. You have seen that it's slowly getting there.
Yeah.
But your opponents have described it as artificial.
Which opponents?
Because of,
let's discuss a bit. Maichaman, which opponents? Give me examples. Then my answer will be contextual. Which opponents?
Political opponents.
Like. Landeni tu. Nibana abo bale lande ifyo vya msangoyo. Eba wona wile economy abo bene. Mwibepwa bena Zambia bena Kopala. Mwibepwa with some people have talk time. Too much talk time. Saying things for the sake of saying things. This Kwacha is stabilized now because of the economic growth, because of the revival of the mines, the foreign exchange that we are earning. So if I was to complicate conversation, Kwacha is a commodity. Hakim, the way you buy tomatoes, the way you buy eggs, Kwacha is a good, it's a commodity. Let's call it a commodity. So if you have fewer tomatoes on sale and more customers, what happens? The price of tomato goes up, isn't it? If you have more tomato and less buyers, more tomato than the demand, the price of tomato will come. The Kwacha is the same. The Kwacha was going haywire because there was no production of goods and services, especially foreign exchange. Now we are earning foreign exchange. When you relate to 1 million tons of copper, Hakim, I beg your pardon. Hakim, it means just the copper revenues alone at minimum $13,000 per metric ton. And if we produce, when we produce 1 million metric tons, how much do we earn from copper alone? You want an answer from me? $13 billion. Numbers are very important in running a country, in running a business, even running a chicken run at a household level. Numbers are very important. $13 billion. When we get to 3 million tons, 13 multiplied by 3, what is that? $39 billion is what we are targeting. From copper alone, and that's export revenue, and that copper comes into the economy. It improves the supply of dollars, a commodity, the currency called dollars. When you compare now with the Kwacha, it means that the Kwacha will keep strengthening and stabilizing. It is economics, it is numbers, it is business. Tekwangasha yo politics and economy tekwangasha. And they will bring more politics. They will kwangasha politics. Guru angasha shan. I'm alive there, right? And I'm serious about this issue. Politics is serious business. It's not a game. And if you hear Hakim, anyone telling you that in the game of politics, point a finger at them, we'll under you. Because you are talking about the health of the children. The maternity facilities we've been talking about, a building at every health centers. We're talking about medicine availability. 45%, 42% now to 78%. Take one galop. So I hope I've answered your question. Now, the copper is not the only export. If you check, our trade balance has improved. I don't want to complicate the conversation. We're doing much better anymore, not just from copper, from other exports. Let me give you the vision of this economy. Just give me a second. This is what will continue stabilizing the commodity called kwacha versus the commodity called dollar exchange rate. Here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 parameters covering different sectors. We are calling it now the 10, 5, 3, 3, 1 vision. I will explain before you ask me the question. 10, 10, 5, 3, 3, 1 vision. I can summarize our agenda in that way. On the growth side of the economy, 10 million tons of maize. Big number. We're already sitting on 3.7 million from a drought, from a negative to a surplus after the drought. Right? And we're racing towards 10 million tons of maize. This is the only government since independence that sets targets, delivery targets. The next 10 is 10,000 megawatts of electricity to support the growing economy, including 3 million tons of copper. So that's 10. Are we together? 10 million tons of maize food. In the house, ngati kulibe vakudya ninkondo mumenyana panganda, right? 10,000 megawatts of electricity. We're now targeting next 5 million tourists. When we came in, there were only 500,000 arrivals, tourists. Last year, we increased that to 2.5 million arrivals. More income, more money, more Deutschmarks, more kwacha, but more foreign exchange. I'm back to the issue of what is stabilizing the kwacha, right? Foreign exchange coming from tourism, foreign exchange coming from maize, million export into Congo. Where is Congo? Is this way? Into Congo. Now we're earning money. And other countries. Foreign exchange. Electricity. Right? Tourists. 3 million tons of copper. Then soybeans, we were on 1 million tons. We've now upgraded to 3 million tons of soybeans. Because China alone has given us an order of 2 million metric tons. So now, our own 1 million plus 2 million that China is able to buy from us, we just have to grow it 3 million tons. So, then the third 3, that's soybeans. Then we are on 1 million tons of wheat, $1 billion of beef. So, 10 maize, million tons, 10, right, 1,000 megawatts electricity. 5 million tourists, 3 million metric tons of copper, 3 million metric tons of soybeans, 1 million metric tons of wheat, then $1 billion of beef exports. 10, 5, 3, 3, 1, 1. That summarizes the economy on the revenue side. Hakim, as we race towards that agenda, more foreign exchange, more growth in the economy, more jobs, more money to pay for free education, more money to pay for meal allowances, more money basically to support CDF, including the new constituencies. This story is too good. And that's what Zambians should be looking forward to as they go to voting on the 13th of August 2021. This 2026, I beg your pardon. This will benefit everybody. That's the summary I can give you. Your next question.
When you look at like in the last year, especially in the last quarter, we did experience change. And I remember there was one of your targets was to achieve 1,000 megawatts of just by December. I don't know if that has been achieved or maybe where are we right now in terms of increasing power generation?
We're doing very well. We're doing very well. Hakim, you have seen now we have more solar coming through. A few days ago, you saw me launching Leopard's Hill, 250 megawatts. Sometime back, you saw me at Chisamba, solar, 100 megawatts. Now we're working on another 100 megawatts at the same site, 200 megawatts. Right? In Timpi today, CEC, we're going to launch 136 megawatts of solar. Then there are other smaller solar stations. There's one in Choma. Where was I last week? No. I was in Mansa. Luapula, yes. Thank you, Jack. I was in Mansa, launching 50 megawatts. First time in the history of Luapula Province, there was only 10 megawatts from Musonda Force. Now, on one shot, we were commissioning 50 megawatts. Hakim. Or tapasoswa. Leken tulande. Mwewanan. Leken tulande. Why is a winner, boy? Why is a winner? Olo tapasoswa. Olo bambi. Bali kalipa perpetually. There are citizens who are angry perpetually. Any comment they make is anger, it's hatred. Let's love each other. Let's front love, care for each other. And that's what we are. We love the people of Zambia, we care for them. Number 2, 3, we deliver for them. But I'm the first one to tell you that all these things we've done, there's a lot more to be done. And exactly. I'm saying a lot more to be done. Thank you, Minister and Chairman. I'm sure you're aware of the initiative with 2 megawatts per constituency, isn't it? We were then talking about 213 megawatts. Now, because of delimitation, with 226 constituencies, you multiply by 2. What are we talking about? Right? 400 megawatts in each constituency. Never done before, Hakim. Where the local people themselves will own the power generation. And if there's no power in the market, you don't have to shout at HH. Because HH will have done his job. You shout at the local people there. Next to you, where you live. Where do you live, Hakim? Within. Now you will have power within that area. We're working on that. These are reforms, these are initiatives we brought into government to change.
Never come back?
I was coming to that. Hakim, what change sana? So I like also to say, whatever I explain, Hakim, in the end you say, what has been the progress? How has this affected ordinary lives? In January, at the heat of load shedding 2025, I said by December, we will have brought load shedding to a stop. And by December, January, there was no more load shedding. And Abena Zambia, balalava. Wangu. Now, that song of load shedding is by and large out of the mouths of citizens. And that is how governments respond. The Zambians don't have to shout. For us, we came in the open to apologize, Hakim. And I did apologize on behalf of the government because I'm the head of the government. I'm the chief servant, your chief servant. But we also knew that the load shedding was because of drought and reliance on hydro. And that's why we brought options. Energy mix. So the answer to your question is that load shedding is under control. And I told you 10, 10, 5, 3. Didn't I tell you? First 10 is maize, isn't it? Second 10 is what? It's electricity. 10,000 megawatts. That's why we have this target of 10,000 megawatts, Hakim, so that we can basically say load shedding will be under control as we move now to the level of achieving the number. I haven't even told you what we did in Mamba. I've only told you the story of solar, isn't it? What about coal? Are you aware that now phase 2 of Mamba Core, 300 megawatts of baseload, firm power. Because you need baseload as well as solar if you don't have a battery to store the energy, to make the load firm, the electricity firm. So Mamba will be now offloading the 300 megawatts in a few months' time. Before December. This year, a project we started. I'm sure you remember I went to Mamba and resolved the problem there. Mamba and Zesco were fighting. They were in court in London. Imagine, these Zambians can act in a strange way. They are all Zambian companies. They sue each other in London. Then, to go to court, they jump on the same plane. They don't greet each other because they're angry with each other. They only see and talk to each other through lawyers in London, in paying big office. So in Mamba, I said, Zesco and Mamba, let's go in that room. That's my style of leadership. I don't give excuses. I explain to people, I'm sorry about load shedding, we are doing something, we'll overcome it. Here we are. So I took them in the room, I said, you are in court in London. Mamba Mines is partially owned by government. Zesco is owned by government. This pocket of government, left and right pocket, don't know how to talk to each other. It's crazy, isn't it? You can call it a negative word. That would be okay. Negative name. But I won't do it. Because I'm your servant. But mwambe pesha nene mulan. Ate alelanda fimbi pa. So anyway, sorry. Forgive me. So anyway, sometimes you should laugh about this thing. So I put them in the room. I said, this is a solution. You end the court process now. They owed each other money. This is how you are going to pay. In the process, we'll have a new project here. From a crisis to a solution. That's how my mind works. From a problem to an opportunity. It's a frame of mind. It is how one is framed. And today, Zesco and Mamba are doing business, paying each other. We agreed how to do it, and a new project by December, before December, we will have 300 megawatts. Of course, let me tell you something else. There's another project right in Mamba, 600 megawatts. Another project in Mamba, 600, 700 megawatts. So if you add 300 new, I'm not talking about the old power, 300 plus 600 is what? Give me the figure. Right? No. 600 plus 600 is 1,200. Plus 3. You got it. New. In train. In train meaning that in progress. We are in a different country. The space the country is today is different. So that would lead us solar plus existing power plus solar plus coal plus others, wind. It will lead us to the 10, the second 10. The first 10 is maize, the second 10 is electricity. So I can say to you, load shedding is largely under control. But let me put a caveat. Because you will ask me, say, what were you saying there in Kitwe that day? The economy is growing. Because as we talk about 3 million tons, Akim, it means it's more demand for electricity. I gave you already a figure that when we get to 3 million tons of copper, only mines doing copper only, not mines doing nickel, mines doing tantalite, manganese, will be consuming 7,000 megawatts alone. Out of the 10,000 megawatts, 7,000 will be taken away by mines, leaving us for the other mines, which are not copper, for irrigation agriculture, for factories, and for others, only 3,000. In 3 years' time, we have to revise this figure. I'm never Hakim. But it's a good position to be in. It's a health situation to have. Why? It means the economy is growing. It means we are creating more opportunities for revenue generation. It means the kwacha will continue being stable. That is the story. It's a beautiful story. This thing is a jigsaw puzzle. Everything is connected. Literally everything is connected. But some people don't see the connections. We see the connections. And that's why we campaign for you to elect us. And that's why I want to say to you, you are in safe hands. Problems will arise. A system may come down. Transmission lines. Right now, we are working on investing more on transmission lines to move this power from the generation point to where it's needed. It's called transmission investment. We need to sell power into neighboring countries such as across Congo. We need interconnectors. So last week, you came to that meeting, eh? You didn't, Minister?
Yes, I
Where we were saying accelerating projects.
Yes,
I called, you saw me, there was a picture where I was in the State House ballroom area. And our meeting ended 21 hours, 30 hours. 30 hours. What we were doing there is to focus on making sure that as we grow the economy, we are also growing energy generation. As we generate more power, we must also construct transmission lines so that the power can go to where it's needed. I have not even talked about off-grid solar, off-grid power. We have a lot of solar projects that are localized, mini grids. That's what we're calling them, Hakim. So that if this area was not connected to power lines, we can still provide power to a health center here, to a school here, to a barber shop, through a local area electric supply called mini grids. There are a lot of those that we're doing. I have not included them. What I've said to you there is on the grid. So your government is working. You should go as you sleep knowing you have a government which is not sleeping. I don't sleep myself. I sleep very few hours. I don't want a caller or a social media, abuser to say, he said he doesn't sleep. I work as hard. You've heard me saying that there's no working hour, there's no working day. Every hour is a working hour. Before I walked out here, I was giving guidelines in Lusaka on working on maize. Because the harvest which is coming is bigger. We think we'll harvest more than 4 million tons. Now we have maize in stock. As I was saying to you Zambians, you were shouting at me for exporting mealie and maize. We need exports. Now we need to export the stocks of maize we have. So I was passing a message to FRA that there are buyers who want to buy maize and bring foreign exchange. The first 10 million tons. Now, I also said we need more storage. Mm-hmm. So I was guiding colleagues there to meet to look at how we can improve on storage, safe storage of the new crop coming. That's what a head of state's job is. Not to kule shipula panchito. Waikala panchito, kule shipula. How we?
Your Excellency, talking about energy, fuel is also something which we are struggling with.
Yes.
Maybe what are you doing in terms of stabilizing fuel prices? I know that there is one project.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, but there are also international factors which you don't have control over. Yeah, maybe what's your comment on that?
I want to admit, because that's my character, that's my nature, that's who I am, predictable character, and that's important, for just ordinary life and leadership. This is one area which is causing us problems now. Akim, we did put in reforms in the petroleum side because energy is many sources, but two groups, petroleum and electricity, and others, okay? And others. I've explained, and thank you for your question on electricity. And I forgot to encourage Zambians, even you, to produce little electricity, even 100 kilowatts. Now the reforms were brought in place. On your rooftop, you can produce 50 kilowatts. You utilize 20 kilowatts, 30 kilowatts you can sell to the grid. What we are calling net metering. All of you can become small business people in electricity. And I want Zambians to take the opportunity, right? I know Chela has put some solar on his house, right? Okay? So, I want to encourage citizens, including you, Akim, to do things like that. And there's nice ladies around here. It gives you the freedom, the safety, power will always be there. So that the power that is coming from these bigger stations can go for mining, for factories, for irrigation. Those who can afford, I'm not forcing. We're not forcing. We're saying if you can generate your own electricity, and then through net metering, you can be able to sell electricity to the grid and earn some money. So let me come back to your question. This is a problem. I want to admit. Fuel is a problem right now. We did reforms to bring in competition for the usage of the pipeline. But remember, the pipeline only carries 70 to 80% of the diesel, only, which is cheaper to bring in. Now, so the price is, the rest of the fuel, before I leave that one, comes by road. And the cost is higher. There's a differential in the cost. Bring it by pipeline, bring it by road. It's cheaper to bring it by pipeline, which helps to lower the pump price. 3 factors go in the fuel pricing. 1 is the international prices. 2, it is the cost of transporting. I've already told you. 3 is the exchange rate. Back to the kwacha and the dollar. Once the kwacha stabilizes, it has helped us to bring the price of fuel down. Remember, before, one problem now has happened is the war in the Middle East. Before the war in the Middle East, we had been able to bring the prices of fuel down every month. From almost 30, 29, we brought the fuel prices to diesel, I'm talking about, to 24, 23. We're doing very well. And we're also talking of a new pipeline to bring more volume. Not just diesel, but petrol, jet fuel, and other stuff. The war breaks out. It's so sad that all the gains we're making in the fuel side are now being wiped out. In order to make the pump price, which Hakim you are drawing, acceptable level to Zambians, the cost is high because of the war. And that, I didn't create the war. We didn't create the war. Please, Zambians, understand that. This is a war that we have no control over. We are praying that and working behind the scenes that the war comes to an end. In my typical style, we're talking to colleagues we know. Please, can you colleagues get to the table? These are big people fighting. But we still put in a word, can we end this war? We don't need war. What we need is peace, security, stability. So anyway, in order to have the prices that you're having now at the pump, we've had to remove the duties and taxes. So government is foregoing, by a certain time, a few months from now, we will have foregone over billions in kwacha. Foregone revenue. Which revenue we need? We've also had to use our reserves in the energy fund. Again, this government looked at the energy fund when the pricings were better. OMCs were putting money in the energy fund. So we're using some money in the energy fund to cushion the pump price of fuel. It will go up this month. And I'm saying so. Maybe it has already been announced, right? If it has not been announced, it will go up a little because the 3 factors, the transportation on the pipeline has remained the same. The international prices have gone up. That's the only reason the fuel prices are going up. Abena Zambia, please, this is beyond our control. We are only mitigating. So the prices are going up. Even last night, the prices went up. Right? So we have no control over that. So this is a problem which we must face until the war comes to an end. Even when the war ends, it will take time for the Strait of Hormuz to allow for the free movement of fuel to help lower the international fuel price. Remember, that Strait of Hormuz moves around 20 to 25% of the global fuel consumption. Hakim, this will also affect the fertilizer prices. We are mitigated a little bit because we are manufacturing our own fertilizer. Again, an initiative that this government brought into place, to a point where we are now a net exporter of fertilizer. So, fuel, fertilizer, petrochemicals. A lot of, I don't want to take time to explain. So, that is the problem now, international prices. Number 3 factor, transport prices costs have gone up as well. Which transport costs? The road transportation. Why? Because the fuel prices have gone up. Because the trucks, the tankers need fuel, isn't it? So 2 variables out of 3 have gone up. What is helping us of the 3 is the stability in the kwacha, in the exchange rate. Again, back to the management of the economy, the discussion we had earlier. These things are all connected. So we are in this situation, and I want to say to the people of Zambia, I really feel sorry about the effect of that war, of which we have no control, on a factor we were managing very well. And you have heard me say, Akim, before, instability anywhere, instability everywhere. Have you seen it now? Bambi balia balia seka. So that artificial land oyo mulumendo. Alite mwabia kulandalanda uyuka indeo. If in a number now, you've seen it. So we don't need conflict. We need peace. That's why you heard me when we were talking about mines. We said safe, legal mining, safe mining, formal mining. Number 4, we don't want insecurity in the mine areas, because insecurity, fights, conflict, war can lead to problems like this. So Zambia must remain peaceful. One Zambia, one nation, one people. Let's stop kwangasha each other. Let's stop conflict. Let's stop insulting each other, even on social media, abusing social media. Let's focus on these beautiful issues we are talking about to develop our country. So, but we'll continue working hard on managing as best we can the fuel prices. But I'm here to admit that this is a problem. And we ask Zambians to understand this situation is not our creation. It's like a drought. We're not responsible for drought. But some citizens were shouting at us unfairly. There's no need to shout at us. If you have a good idea on how we can lower the cost of fuel, please come forward, make that suggestion. But this is a problem, I admit.
The removal of taxes, like you have mentioned, to push on the prices. Are we going to see, funding to other sectors, affected?
That's our concern. Because if we lose billions in kwacha out of tax revenues from fuels, it means we've lost revenue which we need to support other sectors. Your question is correct. My answer is yes. Over time, it will affect us. I think it's only fair to say so. But what your government is doing is to help ameliorate, to help reduce that pain by these interventions. But these interventions, such as removing taxes, leads to the loss of tax revenue, which then means that we don't have the resource envelope we needed to do other things, to support areas that require support. You're absolutely spot on, and you're very clever, Hakim. Thank you for asking that question, and because it allows us to explain. But we need the war to come to an end. Today's world, there's no need for war. After the Second World War, we don't need the war. We don't need the war in Eastern DRC next door here. We don't need the war in Sudan. We don't need the war in Ukraine. We don't need the war in Gaza, in Lebanon. We don't need the war in Iran, and it doesn't matter who's fighting. We should just all, when we have a problem, Akim, let's sit at the table and dialogue. We know. That's why I don't believe in conflict myself. Do you hear me answering opposition leaders when they shout at me? Have you ever heard me answer? Have you ever heard me answer? Stay the focus. Eyes on the ball. Because if I start quarreling on everything, let me use this opportunity to say something. We need to bury the 6th president and bury him in his home in Zambia. We need to give him a decent burial, a military burial, because he was the commander-in-chief. There's no issue of who quarreled with who. We are beyond that. Where we are is responsibility, duty, Zambian character, African values, to bury the dead. When you have issues, you discuss after burial. Even in families, that's what we do, isn't it? I brought this subject, please don't push it too much. I've just brought it to show you that the kind of stuff I'm reading on social media now, insults this way, left, insults this way, right. I want to guide the nation. Let's stop this kind of stuff. Akim, I don't believe in witchcraft myself. I don't. I'm a Christian. I'm an elder in the church. I'm Adventist. But all the body of Christ is one. We are a Christian nation. How come in a Christian nation we are now talking witchcraft? We believe in witchcraft. No. Echechi, Aleppo will send the body parts. What would I do with the body parts of anybody? Really speak, let's talk sense here. What would I do with that? If I believed in witchcraft myself, in the years I was being persecuted, here in Kitwe, in Chingola, when we were almost killed in Chingola, I would have been hiring Ngangas. I have a bit of money. I would have been hiring Ngangas. I never went to Ngangas myself. In my family, the HH family, you will never find a Nganga there. I don't believe in that. We don't believe it. I'm glad that my wife doesn't. We've taught our children not to waste time. The issues, prayer. But they must work. Kubombesha. But today I'm reading every day. People are talking about who is doing witchcraft on this, on what. No. Postmortem is a normal thing, especially when people allege that this person was poisoned. A postmortem is necessary. And the churches, I'm listening to what churches are saying. Churches must be part of the solution, not to be part of the problem. If you're a genuine church leader, be part of the solution. Don't put fuel on the fire, especially an artificial fire like this. Let's respect the 6th president. Let's bury him where the other 5 are lying. It's now presidency. It is now law because there was a litigation. The 6th president, when he was in office, President Kaunda died. And some family members of President Kaunda, including the late Kaweche, may his soul rest in peace, and may Keke's soul rest in peace, did not want Keke to be buried at Embassy Park. But the 6th president, when he was in charge, the one who is now, we are fighting over to bury, simply said to the family, we are burying the President Kaunda at Embassy Park. If you want, come to the funeral. If you don't want, don't come. This is the man who is lying there. He was the head of state. We all listened to him. Okay, I was not allowed to go to that funeral, but I followed it on television. And he did the right thing. I want to commend the 6th president, President Lungu, for that decision. It was the right decision. And we all followed as citizens. What is different now? What is different now? Can we stop this sort of eating each other's fabric, insulting each other? I'm guiding as head of state now, as your chief servant. Can we direct our attention to things that require attention? Let us bury the 6th president at Embassy Park. That's what it's all about. When you are a head of state, you swear in to protect the Constitution and to protect all citizens, young, old, differently abled, those who like you, those who don't like you. You work to protect all of them. That's what the head of state does. That's my duty. That's our role. Nothing else, no other interest. I know I've brought this subject myself. Let's end it here. Hakim, I know you can ask questions, but let's leave it here. I'm guiding the country that let's not hemorrhage, let's not eat each other's fabric, let's not insult each other. Let's focus on giving dignity to the 6th president. The way he did it to Kaunda. When President Kaunda died, the 6th president led us in mourning Kaunda. I was not allowed to go to the funeral myself. He didn't allow me. It's okay. I'm not bitter about it. It's okay. That's how he saw it. I see things differently myself. But that was his duty. The duty we gave him as citizens. Now you gave me the duty as citizens to superintend, to be your servant on these matters, including on mining, including on electricity, including on fuel, including on education, including the 10-10-5-3-3, right? 1-1 vision I gave you. That's the role you gave me to do. Let us be orderly as a people. I think I want to end here that let us not use this opportunity to ostracize each other. This is a solemn occasion. We're embarrassing ourselves. We're embarrassing the region. I mean, this is not right. And I think I put that aside. Anything else, my friend?
Yeah. Your Excellency, as we conclude, the program, we are going to the 2026 general elections. What would you be, telling the Zambian people, as you give them, to look for support?
We committed in opposition to work for the people of Zambia. We gave our vision. We gave our manifesto. We outlined what we were going to do. Hakim, just to give you an example, we have walked the talk. Just to give you an example, debt restructuring. Have we done it or not? It's pretty done. Tick that box. Free education. We said we'd deliver free education. Many laughed at us. We've delivered free education. It's reality now. Even those who did not agree with our policy of free education, we don't segregate. Their children are going to school free of charge. Even those who insulted us. And that's what leadership is, Hakim. Tick that box. Right? We talked about restoring mines. Yesterday we were at Mingomba. We spent time today talking about Mingomba. Tick that box, and more will be done. We talked about NAPSA, partial withdrawal. Tick that box. We talked about meal allowances. Tick that box. We talked about paying as much as possible retirement benefits. Tick that box. There will be residual ones here and there, some litigation related and stuff like that. We talked about CDF. That time, we said that we will increase CDF equivalent to $1 million. Hakim, Maichewan, $1 million. Today, we are sitting on CDF, which is over $2 million. $40 million at an exchange rate of kwacha to dollar, at an exchange rate of 19. Right? It's meant 38 million. We're on 40 million. We've over-delivered. And see, we talked about building more schools. Any constituency of Zambia where the council is working properly, the MPs are working properly, their classroom being built. You don't even have to ask. You go to any area, and that's why you see Zambians joining UPND now. Every day. Because they're saying, HH and UPND say this, they've done it. So why should I be arguing with them? Let me join. Let me work with the UPND. I know you didn't ask me that question. Because everybody was asking me, why is everybody joining UPND? Because we're doing what we said we'll do. We said children were sitting on the floor. And we said we will not allow our children to sit on the floor. We have desks going in. Not 100% because some constituencies are slow. But when we learn that there's a school that has no desks, like a school in Chelenge, 2 weeks ago I learned that there were no desks there. I asked my team to deliver desks. Within 1 week the desks are there. But we also said we want desks to be made here. Okay. Not to be imported. The desks are made here. By who? Zambians, including those we've trained through CDF called artisanal skills, carpenters. You see even young girls now are putting desks. Old frames, they bring in the wood, they put desks, and they are stronger desks. Leadership. We said that water, I'm coming, water, Hakim, that we want to see water and sanitation in schools, in health centers, in public places. Some are slow, but we, by and large, we're moving. Today you go to Chama, Hakim, you find a flush toilet there. For the first time in the history of this country, there's a flush toilet in the remotest rural area. Because there's water, a borehole, there's a tank stand, say 6 meters, there's a tank, there's a solar. And then it takes the water into the toilet. Some for drinking, some into the toilet. You can flush toilet. Hygiene, water and sanitation. It's a great achievement. You tick that box, Hakim. I'm talking about 20 26 elections. And why Zambians must retain this government. Mwiwerera munuma bena Zambia. Mwivepa yo. Because the lies they were giving you about HH, who doesn't laugh, who doesn't go to church, who is a pagan, who is a Mason, who is a Satanist, the one who eats people. We know. Eh? Honestly speaking, boy. No, now Zambians know the truth. Right? We talked about there were too few teachers. And that's why the pass rate was poor. And we said we'll employ teachers. I already talked about it. With the first government to employ over 45,000 teachers. First shot we employed 30,000 teachers. One go. Hakim. Calculating. Putting numbers together. Jigsaw puzzles. Fitting the pieces nicely. And today, last year, we got the highest pass mark in the public schools. First 2.5 million children are in school. Hakim. The teachers were employed. We improved the pass rate from 62.4% in before to 70%. First time in the history of our country that the public schools now are improving performance. Some people are saying, no, the standards will go down. Icona, man. Icona. The standards are going up. Tick that box. What else, my friend? Around education. Pembera first. Curricula. Now we've changed the curricula to go to competence-based curricula. Isn't it? So if a kid is not good in mathematics, we want them to pursue the strength of their hands. Plumbing, carpentry, electrical, we are training them. Those who haven't gone to teacher training, to nurse training, to universities, we are now sending them to technical schools. And we are paying through CDF. We also did something people don't realize. We are paying bursaries for secondary school boarding kids at a constituency level. Never done before in the history of this country. Hakim, you go to your constituents, there's a kid who is in boarding school, they apply for a bursary right in the constituency. Before, bursaries were only given in Lusaka. Now they're given in 156 constituencies. From this election, 256 constituencies. We've given them. And the kids are in boarding school. No excuse. All children must go to school. My friend, school feeding program. We realized that some kids were absent from classes. And we said, what's the problem? Kids come on. Knee sharp. Oh, hunger. School feeding program. This is great, my friend. Tick that box. I will tell you something else. Most people have not paid attention. Prime Minister. After we introduced free education, 2022, thereabout, then I noted that some kids were not writing exams. I said, why? He says, no, there's still exam fees. Parents have to pay exam fees. I told the Minister of Education, I said, now, remove the exam fees. Government will pay examination fees. Now, examination fees are also being paid for. This is the role of a government. You're going into 2026 election, 13th August, with all these issues. Infrastructure, roads, here on the Copperbelt, Ndola Lusaka highway. Look at how beautiful. Masangano, right? Fisenge, Masangano, Fisenge, Luansha. Look at the township roads we're doing on the Copperbelt here, right? Luansha now with 28 shafts. I haven't even talked about restoration of mines. Tick that box. I think I talked about it. Now the roads. Look at Luansha. There used to be potholes, drum holes actually, in the center of Luansha town. You go now, the beautiful road. 4.5 years of great work. The Luansha people now call it the new Luansha. Teine yo, avena Luansha. Abene. Eba ipela, new name, new Luansha. Now, we can go on the roads on the Copperbelt. Yes. On the roads on the Copperbelt. Chingola, Chirilabombwe. Right? Yes. Ndola, Sakania, Ndola, Mufrila, Mokambo, Chibuluma Road, first concrete road. One MP for Nkana was telling me, my HH is in opposition. If you do me Chibuluma Road, I will support you. I did a Chibuluma Road. Beautiful road. Right? Now, township roads. Let's talk of rural roads now. Right?
Mpongwe, Machia, Ngawe Road.
Wansove Mpongwe, Machia, Ngawe. We're moving into bituminous.
Lumpuma Mukutuma Road.
I'm sure you're hearing. Lumpuma Mukutuma Road. And this, what you see in the Copperbelt, is what's happening across the country. Such as what? Chadiza, Chipata in Eastern Province. Right? Mamba, Batoka, Mamba. Northwestern, we're working on Solwezi, Mushinda, Mokipush, plus border posts. We're working on Mutanda, Kasempa, Kaoma. The contractor is now moved on to do the Mutanda, Lumana, Kalumbila, Mwinilunga. Right? If you look at the remedial works on the Great East Road, Great North Road, basically Serenje to Pika, we're doing that road. Airports, Kasama Airport now is an international airport, 24-hour service. The revenues from Kasama Airport increased from 24,000 kwacha per month to 350,000 kwacha per month, and more jobs. We're doing Nakonde Airport. We're doing Solwezi. We're doing Mongo. We're doing Choma. We're doing Chipata. We're doing Chinsali. At the same time, Akim Mwaichawan. Right?
Thank you very much.
Hospitals.
Yeah. Hospitals. No, hang on. Just a little bit.
Which includes cancer hospitals.
Yes. And I talked about availability of medicines.
Yes.
I look at what we're doing with hostels, university. Copperbelt University here. Right? Lusaka. University of Zambia. Palabana. Right? Charimbana. Nkuruma. Mulungushi. You know, this story, Akim, requires 3-4 hours. I would have loved to have received questions today. I was very eager to receive callers today. I am going to ask my colleagues to arrange another program. I did not even touch certain things, Akim, here. I didn't even touch the Bill 7. Hang on. Bill 7. New constituencies. Right? Now, under Bill 7, which is law now, we have women coming into Parliament for the first time in the history of Zambia. 20 women will come into Parliament. Orotapasoswa. Right? No, one moment. People with disabilities, the youth, that everybody has found something here to benefit from. The health we talked about, the issue around creating opportunities for the youth, unheard of 4.5 years. I think we asked the people of Zambia that the choice on the 13th of August 2026 is going back to trouble, to debt, to lubuli in the markets, in the bus stops, or going for progress. I think it's very clear. It is between light and day. Night and day, rather. Thank you very much. So, but let me just close by saying, I want to thank the people of Zambia for giving us the opportunity to serve them. And also, we want to say to them, we have done a lot together with you. There's a lot more to be done. We can do a lot more. This country will be a different country in another 3-4 years. And credit goes to the people of Zambia who really trusted in us. There will always be people complaining. Some people complaining because they are not in government today. All they want to do is to be in government. But for us, we're in government because we love the people of Zambia. 1. 2, we care for them. 3, that's why we're delivering for them. 4, a lot more work needs to be done. So that those who have not been employed as nurses, we didn't even talk about employment in the health sector. A lot of it, in the military, army, ZAF, national service, police, correctional services, but more importantly, private sector jobs in the mines. All of those, we've not talked about them. If you haven't been given a job yet, your cousin may have been. Your family has a child who goes to school free of charge. Everybody is getting a little bit of some benefit. If it's not you, because it's your friend today, tomorrow is you. Don't lose hope. Don't give away hope, don't lose hope. That's my message to the people of Zambia. So I think this election, we must approach it with our open minds. Where we were, where we are now is better. We have come from a difficult situation. Where we are is much better. Where we are going to be absolutely even better. I want the country to be united around development, not conflict, not insults, not abuse of each other.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. This has been Aki Mugala, and this was a special radio program on Radio Icengelo, and we are also live on other 11 radio stations such as Highwave, Shakaina, Mafken, Pongwe, Kwanyama, Rooster FM, Chumwe, Konkola, Ron, Miracle, and Sun FM. This has been Aki Mugala. Thank you very much, and continue listening to the Station of Light.